the melody, it seems like, have you transcribed Galliano's melody a little bit there?
I listened to it and I transcribed it. I know there's a few extra notes in there that
Yeah.
from one of his performances.
Love it, man. It's beautiful.
In fact, I worked really hard to get those because he played them with such casual nature that it was hard to hear all the notes.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate that very much. Yeah, it's really nice. Right off the bat, it's just really nice, and I see the application of some of the sus chords and the tritone substitutions, all that kind of stuff is really good. I was thinking we could talk about the rhythm of the left hand a little bit.
Yes.
The way he plays that. Let me see if I can find a YouTube for us to just check out real quick. Find a good one here. This might be it. Yeah, even solo is good, but I wanted to try to find one with guitar. Do you play in a gypsy jazz Django Reinhardt setup at all?
I am trying to learn to do so. Yeah, I have a cousin who's a bass player, and we get together and do bass, mandolin, and accordion sometimes.
Oh, cool.
And I have a friend who's a guitar player, and we do some Django style stuff together.
Well, let me show you this first. So the feel it's a 6 feel, and the name for that is rumba waltz or rumba valse. Here we go, Hono. So this guy named Honer Winterstein, he's one of the best rhythm guitar players in the gypsy jazz thing. And this is a video that I'll show to other musicians or students of just a demonstration of that rhythm. There's a lot more subdivisions happening. Can you hear that?
No.
Okay, I think I forgot to share the audio. Let me do that again. Here we go.
Démonstration.
So I'll play a little bit more. Yeah. So instead of voon chat fat get to 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4. And that's a thing that like Richard Galliano did to the waltz. He wrote these tunes that are in the same form as the musettes were. But instead of being in 3/4, they're in this 6/8 feel, although he still thinks of them as valse. And that's really like when you think that he did like Astor Piazzolla took the tango and then they said he made the nuevo tango, and Richard Galliano did the new musette. The new musette, one of the things, in addition to even jazzier harmonies, is the 6 feel is a big thing. And you can even take the traditional musettes and do them in that rumba valse or the 6/8 in that feel, which goes to Venezuelan music, which is very cool. Like, I don't know if you've checked out Venezuelan waltzes, but that's really like there's an Edith Piaf tune called La Foule. Do you know that one?
I'm familiar with that one.
That one it's a French tune. It's a French pop tune, but it's written with that Venezuelan do do da da do do da da do do da da do do da da do 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 1 2 3 4 5 6 1. So anyway, let me find that waltz for Nikki, and we can just. There was a solo version, so we can hear what he does with his left hand. Was it this one? No, it wasn't this one. Here, I think this is it. can hear that it's cool. It's almost like a jazz piano player comping in their left hand, you know. But when he does get to a more rhythmic thing, it's da ding da like that. And he pedals it. I don't think I've ever seen this video before. It's really great.
Yeah.
When was it put up? Yeah, okay, just a couple of years ago. That's cool. So he starts, I think he starts deliberately more open, you know, not in terms of time feel, but in terms of not immediately hitting the groove in his left hand. When he starts cool. I'll include this link in the lesson notes. But
it sounds to me like mixing 4-beat on top of
yeah, right. Yes.
Like a 12/8, but not.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
And I just think of that as 6 in my head, you know,
Yes.
4 versus 6, but it's just, we're talking about the same thing. So that was sort of the first thing that I was going to contribute to today is to play around with some of that, because you're playing like a waltz kind of a thing, which is also cool.
Sort of a jazz waltz. That's kind of like I picture Bill Evans or somebody like that.
Yeah. But if you did a 6-1,
I'm trying to do it.
cool.
2 1.
Yeah. So if you try to, and then I usually I'll play a 3 in that 4 in the 4th bar.
Okay.
Right, something like that.
Okay.
And that's I feel like that's close to the spirit of how Galliano does it. And so then that becomes, if you want to try some of this, it's very similar to how you were doing anyway, which is sometimes it's just the bass. You know, you can do just bass. Or you can do both together. Sorry, Bill. Like that.
Okay.
So, some more stuff for you to try out.
No, that's excellent. And the way I'm picturing it, and I think I got this right, if you take the 8th notes or whatever that the right hand is playing, for every 3 notes you're playing in the right hand, there's 1 accent in the left.
Exactly right.
And then you mix in a 3 measure now and then.
You got it.
Okay,
totally.
Excellent. That'll be something to practice and make it much better.
Yeah, and then the phrasing also in the right hand can follow that. Do you know what I mean? So how you're
accent wise,
and on the accordion, what I've found is joining legato and I'll say staccato, but I don't mean like a true dry classical staccato. I just mean a short note.
Yeah.
But joining legato and staccato. So if it was a 3/4 feel, so I might go long, short. So, right. Versus.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
So it's like legato. And that really, really helps the feel quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's a really good one.
That's a really fun thing to do with waltzes also, even very simple waltzes, is to do in the 6 feel. They almost all work, especially minor ones. Minor French waltzes all work in the 6/8 feel, rumba valse.
And that's a great point about using the rhythm in the left hand, in the right hand at the same time. You use, just by the way you're, I would call it accenting the notes, but the duration of the note.
Totally. Yeah, on the accordion, we often get, like what I found is we get the effect of an accent by just creating a short note and then another note after that. So the space and then starting the note again, I think it has to do physically with the fact that when you're, especially a tune like this that's intense, when you're playing with a lot of air, you create this, you create pressure before, and when you just start the note with tension, it gives the effect of an accent. We don't have to move the bellows, in a way that's a real accent.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of times, if you want more, if you feel like the thing doesn't have enough, whatever you're playing doesn't have enough rhythm or doesn't have enough accents, shorten the notes or find places to create shorter notes, little spaces between the notes. And that on the accordion gives it a lot more rhythm because we're creating like our equivalent of the percussive nature of the piano or of a struck guitar string.
Just sort of from the pressure in the bellows. But
yeah.
Build up pressure.
Totally. And like, then phrasing with more separation even in smaller phrases, finding, okay, I'm going to join these 2 notes or these 3 notes, and then I just have a little lift, and then these 2, stuff like that is really creates a much more articulated and mature sound in the right hand of the accordion.
Good.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe today we could go into like some vocabulary stuff if you wanted for improvising on Waltz for Nicky, but I'm also open for anything that you were thinking of covering.
One of the things, I wrote down a few things today because in reviewing the video from last time, I realized how much of our time I was wasting by trying to get the forms of the voicings that you were describing for me. And I realized when I looked back over it that I was missing all of this information that you had because I was preoccupied trying to make my left hand work. And I can do that stuff in practice time. It's clumsy and it doesn't need to waste our time now. So I wrote down a few things that I thought would be good for today based on what we have. And one of them was the general comments on improvising over the stuff we've already done, like Waltz for Nicky, etc. But I also was thinking both Waltz for Nicky and the All the Things You Are recording that you've seen. You started to go last time. You started to go through All the Things You Are and suggest all these variations in the left hand patterns. And I didn't let you go very far with it. And so I thought, for both Waltz for Nicky and All the Things You Are, you could go through and give examples of how you might play variations on those things. And then I can add them in during my practice time.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
And then, like you said, the ideas for making an improvisation verse on either of those, both of those things.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, let's go back to All the Things You Are.
All right.
I feel like if I pull up a chart, it's easier for me to point to that and say, okay, here's sort of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, in fact, those little chord voicings you sent me in a chart last time, it's just...
I did. Yeah, I can...
A few things, but there's some in there that I didn't even remember talking about. We had played the... pinky on the A-flat bass note and then reached up to the C major triad. The pinky was on the A-flat. We used the index finger on C major triad and then resolved it to the F minor.
Right.
And, if you keep dealing those things out, I found that very interesting. and also that Eddie Montero variation with the
crazy dominance coming down.
big stretch on those dominants.
Yeah.
It's a hard stretch to do until I just practice a few patterns with it, and then it kind of falls into place. So that
Cool.
stuff is gold as far as I'm concerned.
Awesome. One of the, like, I think the approach here is that harmonically the left hand of the accordion is so limited,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not obvious. Like, you can't invert any chords, in the left hand of the accordion. You have what they are.
Right.
So then the idea is like, okay, well, we have to sort of think of different, chord qualities or different ways to get the effect of an inversion, or something like that. So, like, let's see. This you checked out already.
Yeah.
And this has like the tritone sub idea. And then it has this beautiful thing with the moving voices, the inner moving voices, which is a really cool sound.
And also in the first measure, of course, there's that sort of a different substitute for an F minor seventh.
Right. Which is essentially a rootless voicing.
Yeah. And,
Right.
and when you add to the melody note that you're playing in the other hand, that which is the A flat,
Yeah,
that sounds real good when you combine them like that.
definitely. Yeah. So, okay, this tune, each bar just goes by, or each chord change lasts for about a bar, with some places doing other things.
Yeah.
But let's see, if I'm thinking with F minor, or right from here, there you might want to stick with that, or let me get to something that's more balanced. So to get into some of the other sounds, we could this is the A flat.
Yes.
Yeah, so now we're on the E flat, right?
Yeah.
Which you could grab from some other places. Let's see.
Okay.
Right, which I'm sure you know that.
Yeah.
You definitely know that. That kind of moving stuff in left hand is cool also.
Yeah, that one moving up. So you're, I guess
Yeah.
you're on A flat, and it goes B flat minor, and then a C.
Yeah, C. I'm on
Actually,
C.
D diminished, and then a C minor.
Yeah, and then grab the counter bass here. And then I just do E minor 9. Because otherwise it would be here, right? It's like a E, C over an E. So
Exactly.
you do this here, or you can go down to here, right?
Oh yeah.
And the same. No, I went to the wrong two. I think we talked about this, the sus. Yeah, because you have that in the
In Nicky, yeah.
yeah. I love that sound, which is a D with a C minor,
Yeah.
and then to the G. You can get a sharp, major 7 sharp 11.
So a major 7 sharp 11,
Right. So you can do,
just the root note plus 2 chords on top of it.
yeah. So you as long as you get the A triad in there, I'm thinking G with my pinky, and then A major, and then you could have either G major triad with the A, or a lot of times I just do the D major triad, and there's no third in the chord.
Okay.
Let's see, did I go to D sharp? Sorry. And then sorry, Bill. So that's sus. So yeah, something like that. So some more movement, like the thing that most accordion players are missing is more connecting movements. So which I imagine you would be doing on the piano. So
Yeah.
if you're playing like this tune is a little bit weird because there's not that much room for putting extra chord changes in there. But if I just ham-fisted tried to put them in. So there I'm like a B minor. If I do like an A, if I'm thinking when I have the 5-to-1 resolutions or anything else, I'm starting a half step above, even with just the bass note. So here I have just the F minor 9, and then I'm thinking like B minor 7 to B flat minor 7. Here's the sus. Maybe there. Here you could also do the thinking in terms of the rootless voicings. It's a C minor chord. Mm-hmm. We could go back to that idea of the E flat major 7 with the G in the bass instead of the C minor. So I'm just thinking of a major 7 built off of the minor third of the chord. And the accordion is so strong in its way of determining the total center that if I just played an E flat major 7, if we had a bass player here, it would still sound a little weird, but it would mostly work. But in solo accordion, it sounds really weird if I just go to E flat major 7. That sounds like a bad reharm. Whereas if I put the G in the bass, I think it works a lot better.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that E flat major 7 sounds bad because the melody note is in E flat.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Imply that now you're suddenly in a major key.
Yeah. That you're right, man. Yeah. We can do that. Yeah, something like that, or get those in there. So that's the augmented going to the 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So to make it easier for me, so I'm on the bridge, the 251 to G major. Pardon me. Here, it's got the minor 11. So there I'm hitting F.
Is that a B flat?
It's a F major 9. So I'm thinking of a tritone sub, but not a dominant chord anymore.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm supposed to get to an E major here, so I can go here. You can get it there, or I might just want to jump. There. So there's the sharp 11 again. And then back to the 2/5, back to the F minor. Tritone sub.
Uh-huh.
Sorry. So 2/5. And something like that. So that there are, that's almost like a bunch of harmonic ideas for if you're playing solo accordion. If you're playing with a guitar player, that stuff doesn't really come across, and it can, especially in the left hand, can sound real clashy against the guitar player.
Yeah, when I do play the accordion with rock groups on stage, I have never tried to add any left hand to it at all. I can figure out a way to incorporate the left hand when there's a whole band involved.
Yeah. My approach, if I want left hand, is I just think of supporting, like creating the chord with the two hands together. And like playing the same, like
for comping mostly.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, rhythmic like that, and not keeping a rhythm going in the left hand.
Right.
Yeah. Another kind of thing is like on a tune like just to show you some more left hand stuff.
Yeah.
If I'm doing like La Vie en Rose. I love that movement. It's like a 3/6-2/5 descending tritone subs. Okay, so then. So some more adding more chord movement inside of the, inside of that is another way that accordion players do the same thing that the other instruments do, since you don't have inversions and stuff like that. So I'm not playing great. I'm not feeling great today, but
no,
you can see the ideas at least.
It looked like, so if you're on the root chord of C major 7, you'd hit the first note of the melody, a C. Did you play like a B flat major 7?
Dominant 7.
A dominant 7, and then half step up, and then land on the C major 7?
I landed on C dominant 7 actually, but yeah.
Oh. For the very first note of the song on a C dominant 7? No.
Yeah. Now I wouldn't be able to do that here.
Right.
A lot of times people play a C diminished on that, which I don't like, but they do it. I mean F sharp diminished. Sorry. So it's just kind of more like Louis Armstrong inspired version.
Yeah. In your passing note there, are you using a diminished chord?
No chord, just the bass notes.
Just walking from B flat to B to C.
Yeah, just a single bass note.
Okay, so you're not putting a voicing on that B.
No. And it sounds great because I have like, or
Yeah, you're playing your dominant guide tones in the right hand.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff where you can get by just with a nice voicing, rootless voicing in the right hand, especially if open voicings sound great on the accordion.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, that first one you played on the A minor 11 with an open voicing.
Yeah.
I use that in All the Things You Are.
Oh, cool.
In the B section, da da ba da.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
A widespread open. Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, beautiful,
open
man.
voicing.
Yeah. Cool.
That's part of what one of my jazz teachers called a Kenny Barron voicing on the piano.
Oh, yeah.
He'd use intervals of a fifth. So in the left hand, he'd play the A root and an E and a B. And then he'd come right in with the C with his right hand and add a G and a D. So you take the 11th and spread it out over 2 octaves, and it sounds really neat.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, the left hand, the accordion, the fifths you can't do, right? So it's got to be all, anything other than the root, has to kind of be with the right hand. Yeah, that's beautiful. Cool. All right, well, there's a bunch of stuff for you to try.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder if you want to apply that to like a ballad, some of these.
Yeah, that might be nice because that leaves so much more room for the chords to move around.
Totally. Yeah, you can create all that movement. Like it might be like your etude sort of, so to speak, might be about creating that harmonic movement in the left hand or in combinations of right, if it's right hand chord, but with the left hand supporting it, something like that. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nature Boy comes to my mind, but could be anything.
One that I like to play is In a Sentimental Mood.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nice ballad that has room for some voicings to move around in it, just off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, for sure. And the other thing is, I don't know if you do this, but sit at the piano and think, okay, well, what would I do on the piano here? Okay, and then put the accordion on and sort of try to adapt that a little bit to the accordion, because it will, all your great ideas are for the piano, and I think it'll help filter it through.
That's true. The piano really helps in a lot of ways. If I'm learning something on the accordion, I go to play it on the piano and I realize, gee, I have to sort of learn it all over again on the piano, but it has a great impact on my accordion arrangement.
Cool.
Because on the piano, I know what to do.
Yeah.
And if I can translate it to the accordion, sometimes that works. Sometimes I come up with what are probably bizarre ideas. So, I haven't tested them or anything. That's why I have some of these strange shapes, but it's nice to see some of the bizarre looking shapes and see that they are useful in a lot of things.
Definitely. Yeah. And you can do a minor major 7 in the left hand of the accordion too. Is another harmony I was thinking of very easily. So
Yeah, put a G major on top of a C minor chord, huh?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can move to minor 6.
Oh, the 6. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because they call it diminished, but it really is a minor 6 chord. It doesn't have the flat 5 in it.
Yes, in fact, I have used that, but only the 2 buttons, the root and the diminished. Let's see if I got this right. C. Yeah, there's a way to make a minor 6. Yeah, that's right. I use the root,
minor triad.
the root, the minor triad, and the diminished. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And really, you could leave the minor triad out if you wanted. It sounds more like a minor 6 with the minor triad in it. But
Yes. Yeah.
yeah. Cool. Let's hit improvisation a little bit.
Okay.
So like on Waltz Wernicke, Galliano uses these enclosures so much.
Yeah.
This one particularly a lot. Although he rarely ever, of all the I've transcribed a lot of Galliano stuff, and he doesn't really ever do it on the 5th. But if you were, so a lot of, like he uses a lot of half step below his chord tone. So here you could use the melodic minor. So
I've been concentrating on melodic minor scale on that, but just based on the melody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You could also get the C sharp in there too if you want. Same thing, melodic minor. So then I feel like probably the phrasing might be the better thing to talk about. And that might be cool actually for you to this week if you wanted to take a look at the way Galliano is phrasing.
Mm-hmm.
And how, in fact, even if we pull this up, I don't know if that solo that he was playing is a good solo or not, but let's check it out. Yeah. If I can take it back a little bit. This is him when he's younger. He's just burning. Yeah. You know, do you have your accordion there?
Yeah.
Why don't you solo a little bit on it? And feel, I would say, try the 6 feel more.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be
Is that too
something
weird?
to get used to. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just getting used to that different rhythm there. So soloing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, let me give you this. So try to start every like new idea, new line, with an enclosure around one of the chord tones, like either the root or the third of the chord,
Mm-hmm.
and then start your line and carry it up,
Okay.
or carry it down, whichever way it's going.
No.
Yeah.
I'm getting myself out of the key there.
Yeah, try a different enclosure. Actually, try the Richard Galliano enclosure, which is, it's like a over the root of the chord.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let's see. Yeah.
Was that it?
It goes up.
It's a one. Okay, so it's kind of like a 4-note approach.
Yeah, and I'm thinking I'm starting on beat 1. So 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3, and then the same thing on E minor. Yeah. Do A, G, F sharp, because we're targeting the F sharp. Cool. And then same thing on E minor. Yeah. So that, and then for the next one, we'll do a chromatic approach. So like G, G sharp, A, up to the A sharp. Yeah, so it's almost like the way a bebop scale puts the major 7 as a passing tone.
Yeah.
Let's see, that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and.
I might have added a note.
C sharp. And then, yeah, another thing Galliano does is he'll on the downbeat, he'll do a lot of enclosure. He'll play the bad note on the strong beat and then resolve it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like a.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And then. One, 2, 3. Yeah, and little grace notes.
Yeah. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we let's see. And then 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just down the melodic minor. And then another enclosure. Yeah, right. And to get to it, to get to the G, C sharp minor 7 flat 5.
Oh.
1, 2, 3. Yeah. So like a lot of it going to the third of the chord. I'm now thinking of the second. I don't know what the hell it's called. The form of the tune is weird, Well, where it's 2-5 to D and then 2-5 to D flat.
Yes.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Yeah, I have another F sharp in there. Yeah. And then I'm thinking of the E flat minor 9, but starting on the 9.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then it goes to D. Let's see if that should be. So like a G F triads, G triad. Yep. And then we move to E minor. But if I stop there, I'm showing you like a lot of the Galliano like things are lots and lots of enclosures over the root and the third, and then lots of chromatic connecting tones to get to that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go back to the top. So it's like a fast enclosure and then a slow one. Yeah, I think
Oh, okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 1 and I'd have to figure it out. Maybe that. I'm thinking of a 2. It's a 2-5 instead of just a 5 there.
Mm-hmm.
So the D. And that's definitely a total Galliano lick. Yeah. So, okay. So here's a thing that I found from transcribing Galliano a lot is if he's playing in D major or if he's playing in B minor, he's a lot of times thinking of the same arpeggio shape, you know, how they're related. So over like, in this case, it's B minor. So he's thinking like a B minor 7 or also a D major 6. And a lot of times, even if it's a major, if it's the D major 6, he'll ornament and play surrounding notes around the 6. In this case, it's the root. So that B, if it was a D major, is the 6. Like, so on the B minor. Or you might think of like a major 9,
Yeah.
D major 9, but it's in this case it's B minor. Yeah. Which also works here on in that turnaround thing where it goes 2 5 1 4. So the D major.
Okay, yeah, it goes through.
I don't know. Yeah.
So if knowing all those enclosures and the types of enclosures he uses, a lot of times I'll notice he'll throw a handful of grace notes approaching the first note of the enclosure with grace notes. He'll roll up to it and then play the fast enclosure. So it sounds like a whole bunch of notes, but
totally
understand the shape of the enclosure, and a lot of times he's using chromatic grace notes to get up to it, which makes it seem more complicated than it is, I think.
Yeah, no, exactly. And his vocabulary, like, I think it's one of the reasons that he is so popular is because his vocabulary isn't that dissonant. He's not that chromatic in his actual lines. You know,
Right.
He uses a lot of chromatic approach tones and enclosures, but his lines themselves are almost always just, it's like a harmonic minor scale or a melodic minor scale, and then lots of arpeggios. So sometimes you hear him play diminished scale, but it's I don't know. It's still very tonal compared to where you could go with jazz.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like the main melody of his improvisation is sort of a diatonic based on a major 6, a pentatonic scale, basically.
That's exactly
with all the enclosures and grace notes in there. It adds all of the blue notes and all that stuff.
Totally. I have written a couple like handbooks where for this camp that I've taught at in the past, and one of them in particular focuses on a lot of Galliano solos and particularly enclosures in those solos. I'll try to find that one and email it over to you, and you can take a look at it and see what I'm saying.
Okay.
If you're down with that, I know you've got great ears too, so that's the best place to start. As far as the reason I think that the enclosures might be a nice addition to your vocabulary is because you don't do a whole lot of it, and we love Richard Galliano, so of course we want to sound like him. But it also helps the way you're going to phrase over this tune. The rhythmic thing changes. Digga digga down, digga digga down, down, digga down, sort of like that.
Yeah.
So getting in some of those, a little exercise you might want to just start with is just take one shape, say it's like ascending the scale from the root to the fifth, and just start with that Galliano. I call it the Galliano enclosure.
Mm-hmm.
I know it goes way before he was around doing his thing, but 2 3 2 3 2 3 and 1 2 and 3 and 1. You might want to start there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Oh, I forgot what tune it is. There it is. Well, I'll take the notes you played. I'll work on that then.
Yeah. So is that, what does that end up being? It's not B harmonic minor, is it? It is, I guess. It's like using the mode of B harmonic minor, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But in this case, we'll just skip the B. Is that right? Whatever that ends up being. A lot of the flat 9 things. Flat 13 to 5 and then flat 9 to 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, there's a million great ideas in there, and
I
I'm
know.
understanding a whole bunch of them. I know we're at the end of the time. I wanted to ask you one quick question about, I'm looking at an occasional pickup for the accordion.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than get it drilled out and mounted internally,
Yeah.
I've been looking at variations on external mics for the thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked at a thing called the Myers Grip Plus 6? It has a suction cup attachment on it and a little flexible mic.
I think that's the one that Michael Bridge likes. Michael Bridge is a wonderful classical accordion player up in Canada, and I think that's the one that he likes and uses. The only thing that I know is like I'm playing in bars and restaurants where the next musician is like 2 feet away from me and is loud as hell, and there's a drummer 2 feet behind me. And with those kind of pickups, sometimes they feedback is a crazy, horrible problem with those because it's getting everything else, you know? Is there a reason that you don't want to do the installed?
Well, I had pickups installed in my Weltmeister by Liberty Bellows, and they used the Sennheiser diaphragms with 2 of them on the treble side and 1 over here, and they wired it internally. It's a beautiful setup, but I had a tremendous amount of trouble with feedback.
Totally. So absolutely. And that the Borsini that I'm using in your lessons is the exact same thing, and I have the exact same problem. But microphone technology has gotten a lot better. And the thing that's just come out over the last year or 2 years is a product called Made by Harmonic with a K at the end. And it's badass. It was that Potoso was the only one carrying it, but now Liberty Bellows is carrying it now.
Oh.
And it's phenomenal, man. It really it does a couple different things. For one, I think it doesn't use a line level, or it uses a line level instead of a something else level. Somehow the signal is different, so it has a lot lower feedback potential. I've had like a lot less feedback with it. And I think Liberty Bellows has a bunch that they've ordered. I don't know if they're in there yet. I forget. Are you in St. Louis? Where are you?
St. Louis.
Yeah, because there is that accordion guy there who might be able to install it for you.
Yeah, I bet Ami would do the installation for me.
Yeah.
I'd be afraid to take a drill to the thing myself, but
yeah.
I could call him and ask him what kind of experience he's had in putting these things in.
Yeah, because that brand is way better than the Sennheiser thing. It's
okay, good.
Night and day.
Yeah, that Myers thing I was talking about, the thing I liked about it was it had suction cups, so you didn't have to glue any Velcro on there or mount any mountings.
Yeah.
And they take a very similar unit and use it for a violin or a cello or a guitar. You know, there's variations on a unit, but it's the same idea. It's this matched little preamp with a flexible gooseneck on it.
Yeah. I have had external things like that. Not that particular one. There was one that was a bar. It was like a long, thin bar, and it Velcroed on the front. And then it had a wire. And then I think it also Velcroed over the bass. Like on the bass side, there was one mic that went where there's like usually a little mesh hole there in the bass side.
Uh-huh.
And that was okay, but I felt like with both hands, then I had wires hanging off of both ends. And if I stepped wrong, it would pull the thing out or something like that. And it just looked kind of weird with all these wires hanging off of me. and it didn't sound as good. But to go back to the Myers thing, you could maybe try it and then return it if you don't like it.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's another problem with it, though. It has wires all over the place.
Yeah.
Your preamp is stuck over here, and then it has another wire coming out of it that goes to the suction cup on the bass side.
Yeah.
A lot of the times I'd just be using it for these rock bands, so I probably only use the piano side anyway.
Right. Which
Which means now I've got extra wires that I'm not even using. But if that harmonic is a better solution than that Sennheiser that I had in there.
It's the best one so far. I had the AMT system, which is really, really good.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you've seen that one.
I don't think so.
That one is installed in the left hand, and then on the right hand, it's a bar that has two goosenecks hanging off. So There's really wonderful microphones, and then you just sort of they're flexible, so you can position them over the accordion, and then that connects to either like it's sold with a wireless transmitter, which is really good, and that was awesome, but it's pretty expensive, and then there's some setup there. As far as you just have to take it out of its little box and clip it on and stuff like that. But that also was a lot better for the feedback. There's something like the technology has gotten a lot better after the Sennheiser thing,
Well, good. The sound man really could never get enough sound out of it without me having to stand in a really particular place just to stay away from all the feedback.
Yeah. The harmonic system is really good. Like we're all trying it. Gabe got it first. He's my friend.
I know Gabe.
Yeah. Gabe got it first. He tried. I think they just, it's one of those things where they just sent him one and said, here, try this out. And if you like it, hit us up. And so Gabe works at Petosa. So then he